So let's continue and start with the chorus. It sounds like this. So to start with, you have this chord where you're playing the open D string, the second fret of the G string, and the third fret of the B string. And you plug them together, so you're plucking the D string, G string, and the B string together. The very first bit that you have to play sounds like this. So there, like you did before, you start by plucking the chord, and then you do this, where you slap and ring the chord, and then you pick the B string. One more time. And after that you play this, where you pluck the D string, which is open, the G string, and then the B string, like that, one after the other, and then slap and ring the chord, and then you pick the open high E string once. One more time. So when you add the two parts, it sounds like this. And after that you have this part. So there you have this chord, where you're playing the open A string, the second fret of the G string, and the third fret of the B string. So there you start by plucking this chord, and then you have this part, where you change this note, you lift this up to play the first fret of the B string now. You play this note 2 times, the B string, and then slap and play this note on the second fret of the G string. Like that. So the whole thing sounds like this. And after that you have this part. So you start by playing this, where you play the B string, then the A string, and then the G string. And after that you slap, and then you play the A string, which is open. One more time. And when you add this to the previous part, you get this. So far from the start you have this. And after that you have this part. So this part is exactly the same as the part that we already learned in the intro. So right after you finish playing this part, you have this, where you just have to play the 5th fret of the B string and then the 1st fret of the B string. And then it continues to that chord again. And after that you just repeat this part. And this time when you reach this chord, you don't play that part, you just play the chord with a slap again. Like that. So that's the entire chorus. I'll play the whole thing from the start. It sounds like this. And after the chorus, the song goes back into the intro again, which is exactly the same as what you played before. And after that you have the second verse, which is exactly the same as the first verse, but there's this small change. You just have to add this little fill. So in the end, you just have to add this little melody. And apart from that, everything else is exactly the same. So you play it like this. So you start off with these two notes, where you have the third fret of the lower E string and the first fret of the B string. You can also use your third finger, your ring finger, to play this note if that's too much of a stretch for you. That also works. So you plug the low E string and the B string together. And then you pull off from this note on the first fret of the B string to the open B string. Like that. One more time. And after that you play this, where you play this note on the second fret of the G string and you ring the chord with a slap, and then you pull off to the open G string. One more time, really slow. And you play this part when you reach this chord. So right after you have this. So I'll play the entire second verse again. It sounds like this. And after that you have the pre-chorus again, which is exactly the same, and then you have the chorus again, which is also exactly the same. After that you have the bridge, which sounds like this. So you start with this chord where you have the open D string, the second fret of the G string, the third fret of the B string, and the third fret of the high E string. So you start by ringing the chord with a slap, and then you have this, where you pull off and then you hammer on again and then pull off again. One more time. So you're pulling off from the third fret of the high E string to the open high E string, then hammering on again and then pulling off again. After that you have to play this note on the fifth fret of the high E string, and you plug that with the open D string. And after that you have to play this. So right after you played this, the fifth fret with the open D string, you have this part. So you lift this finger up to play the open high E string, play that 2 times, and then slap, and then play the B string 2 times, this note on the B string, the third fret. So you end up getting this. And if you play the whole thing, one more time really slow, and if you play the whole thing with the pull-off part, it sounds like this. And after that you just have to add this part, where you're playing the open D string and then the G string. So the whole thing sounds like this. And if you play it with the previous part with the pull off there, it sounds like this. And right after that you have this part. So there you have the pull-off part again, which is exactly the same. And then you have this. So there, instead of the D string, you're just playing the A string this time. It's exactly the same. Just playing the open A string. So right after you plug the A string and the high E string, you have this part. So there you let go of this note on the high E string, and now you have the open high E string. Now you have that part. So you start by playing the open high E string 2 times, and then you slap, and then you play this note on the 3rd fret of the B string. And then you add this note here on the 5th fret of the G string. So you end up getting this. So from the start you have this. And after that you have this part. So there you just play the A string once and then you slap. So far from the start you have this. So from the start of the bridge you have this. And after that you have this part. So there you start by playing the 3rd fret of the A string and the 3rd fret of the high E string, and then you have this, where you plug the A string and the high E string together and then you hammer on onto the 5th fret of the high E string. And after that you have this part. So right after you do the hammer on, you have this, where you let go of this note and then you play the open high E string 2 times, and then you slap, and then you play this, where you're playing the 3rd fret of the B string and the open high E string. So you get this. And if you play it with the hammer on, and after that to end you just have to add these 2 notes, where you're playing the 3rd fret of the A string, the bass note there, and then you play the open G string. So the whole thing sounds like this. So I'll play to this part slowly from the start of the bridge. It sounds like this. And after that you have this part. So there you're playing this melody. But the first note you play it like this. So you start by ringing the chord with a slap. So there you're kind of playing the open G string, B string, and this note on the 3rd fret of the high E string. So you have this. So you plug that note again. And after that you have this. So there you're playing the 3rd fret of the low E string again and the 1st fret of the high E string. So you start by playing the low E string, and then you play the high E string and then you pull off. And then you play this note on the 3rd fret of the B string. One more time. And after that you slap and you play this chord, where you're playing the open D string, G string and the B string, 3rd fret there. And then you plug the B string again. And then you play the bass note on the low E string. So you get this. So if you play it from the start, you get this. And after that you have this part. So there you play the open high E string first and then you slap. and then you play the first fret of the B string. So the whole thing sounds like this. So if you play it from the start of the bridge, you get this. So after the bridge we have the chorus again, and after that we have the outro, which sounds like this. So there are the first two times you're playing exactly the same thing that you play in the intro. And after that, the third time you play this. So there you start by playing this. So you pluck this chord, where you're plucking the D string, the G string and the B string together. And then you play the B string again. And then you play this, where you hammer on from the first fret to the third fret, and then you play the open high E string. And then you play this note on the second fret of the G string. So you get this. And after that you have this part. So there you start by playing this note on the third fret of the B string. So after playing this note, you pluck the chord, and now with the open A string on the bass note. So you're plucking the A string, the G string and the B string together. And then you change this note to the first fret of the B string. So far you have this. And after that you have this part, where you go back and forth between these two notes. You're playing the first fret of the B string and the second fret of the G string. So the whole thing sounds like this. And from the start, and after that you have this part. So there you have the C major chord with this note on the third fret of the high E string. So I'm plucking the A string, B string and the high E string together. And then you pull off to the open high E string. And then you play the third fret and then the first fret of the B string. So you get this. And you repeat it again. And after that you have this. So there again you have this chord which you played before. And now you play it like this, where you start by playing this note on the third fret of the B string, and then you play the note on the third fret of the low E string which you're playing with the thumb, and then you play these two. So the fifth fret of the D string and the fourth fret of the G string. So the whole thing sounds like this. And that's where the song ends. So I'll play the whole outro again. It sounds like this. Now that's all the different sections that are there in the song. Now let's discuss the song structure. So we start with the intro, then we have the verse, then we have the pre-chorus, and then we have the chorus. After that we have the intro, then the second verse, then we have the pre-chorus, and then we have the chorus again. And after that we have the bridge and then the chorus again. And after that finally we have the outro. So that's it for this song. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this helped. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, then subscribe to my channel. Also, if you have any questions or requests for song tutorials, then do let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.